Hello traders, welcome back to YouTube. Hosanna here from Trading Academy, and I'm very excited to bring you this episode. Now, in the trading world, there's always something to argue about. If traders are not arguing about trading strategies, they're arguing about who's maybe smart money versus ICT, this versus that. There's always some form of argument. And now, one of the arguments that we've not really talked about, I mean, of course, we talk about it a lot, but one of the arguments that I'm here to actually put to rest for you in your trading is the aspect of trading the news. How can you effectively trade the news? Because trust me, there are people who really love to trade the news. There are people who look up to the news, and then there are people who expect the volatility of the news. Probably they are day traders or they are scalpers or they're whatever. They expect the news to be able to do something for them. And of course, they really wait for those times of the day to trade. So here is how you can actually trade the news. I'm going to give you 4 tips. And if you stick around until the end, I might throw in a bonus. So tip number 1 is before the news release comes out, make sure that you have done your technical analysis. Make sure that you have reviewed your charts. Of course, I have one right here behind me. So make sure you've reviewed your charts. Make sure you have your trend, direction, and gain. If you trade support, resistance, order block, smart money, fair value gap, whatever you trade, trend lines, however you trade, just make sure you do your homework. Make sure that you've analyzed the market. Make sure that you've looked at the market just before the news comes out. And when you do this, it gives you an edge. It gives you a clear sense of direction, because one thing you must equally know is that news does not create direction. It does not tell us where to go. It instead creates volatility. So before the news comes out, you want to make sure that you have done your homework, you have done some technicals. And now the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have whatever news you are expecting. And then if it's a high impact news, you want to make sure that you have looked at previous data for that news release that is coming out. So if, for instance, we are looking at something like CPI, and for a period of maybe 6 months, CPI has consistently come out and it's probably been going higher and higher and higher, signifying that there's a high inflation, you want to make sure that you are actually paying attention to the trend of the CPI. Some months is higher, some months is lower, but overall it's been going higher. So you want to make sure you pay attention to that. And the next thing you want to do is you equally want to make sure that you are looking at the consensus versus the actuals. So if, for instance, you are looking at the CPI and you see that there has always been a very wide margin between this consensus and the CPI, you want to pay attention to that. Let's say we're forecasting for 3% and then it comes out at, okay, let's say 7%. That's a very wide margin. But if we're forecasting 3% and then it comes out at 3.2%, I think that's, it's within a fair range. So if over a long period of time, we have been seeing a very wide margin, a very wide gap between the forecast and if consistently we've been seeing a wide gap between the consensus and of course the actual, then you want to really pay attention to that as well. And now on to the third one. By the time the news release comes out, here's the most important one. Please make sure that 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes before or after the news release that you are not placing any trades. Please, this is really important. The reason this is very important is that professional traders are not actually sitting on their desk gambling news releases and buying and selling all those kind of things. That's not really what they're doing. The thing is this: during news release, the market is actually rigged against you, because at those times there's low liquidity in the market. The spreads are wider. You have a very high chance of being slipped because price could move really fast, and you might try to fill an order at maybe $10, and then before you know it, you are getting filled at $15 or $16, ultimately putting the market against you. So you don't want to be trading in environments where the market is not in your favor. So you want to make sure that you are not trading within that hour or within that minute, within the few minutes or before or after the news release. You want to make sure that you're out of the market, you're observing from the sidelines, and then you want to see how the market proceeds after the news release comes out. And then on the final one, by the time the news release comes out, now it's time for you to check for validation or invalidation. So validation is the news release is trying to validate or is validating your technical setup or your technical analysis that you've done prior to that. Of course, the news release is showing that, okay, yes, the analysis you've done is correct. We're likely to be heading in that direction. There's a big impulse or whatever. You want to use that as a parameter to determine whether you want to go with the analysis you have done before, Or if your trade or your technical analysis is invalidated by the news release, you were forecasting a sell and suddenly there's a big bullish candle that comes up, breaks structure, those kind of things. You want to know that, okay, now it's time for me to actually go back to the drawing board and see how I can work my way around the new message that the market is sending to me as a trader. So the most important thing in all of these things is, as a trader, make sure that you're taking a message from the market, make sure that you are not being impulsive, and make sure that you are following a game plan. That is the ultimate thing in all of these things. So it is not up to you. It is not for you to be, buying every tick candle that goes up during the news hour. That is not how to use the news. This process that I've just showed you is how you use the news to your advantage, because every single thing, you have to understand that this market was not designed to enrich you, it was designed to take money from you. It was designed to actually facilitate international transactions. And of course, some people are always going to be providing liquidity within that market. So you want to make sure that something that is out to get you, you want to make sure that you are giving yourself an edge and giving yourself an opportunity to stay alive in the grand scheme of things. Thank you very much for sticking to the end all the way. I want to invite you to join our online community. We have a community on Telegram. We have a community on Discord where we share technical analysis. Very interesting things happening there. Of course, we hold live sessions as well. So please make sure that you join our online community. And of course, the best way to join, or the easiest way to join, is to make sure that you sign up with Tickmill, make a minimum deposit of $100 into your Tickmill account. And of course, we will have you in our community. We would love to have you in our community. In there, you're going to get trading signals. You're going to see other members of the community who are thriving as well. They're sharing their setups. You're looking at what they are doing, and they are actually showing the progress that they are making. And it will be a very, very beautiful place for you to be in. So please, as a trader, make sure that you're not doing this in isolation. Trading could get very lonely. Make sure that you have a community that has your back, and a community that is going to be there for you long term to support your trading career. Check the links in our bio. Of course, we'd love to have you within our community. All right. Cheers.